All right, so anyway, injury report tonight. Now, the Saints have a few people on the injury report. Penning, of course, did not practice. He's dealing with a toe issue, and people call it a turf toe, whatever you want to call it. DMP Wednesday and Thursday. So we know it's a slim possibility that he will play in the week one matchup for the Saints coming up on Sunday. There are also injuries. Christian Boyd dealing with a hand situation. Jordan Howden also with an oblique. Well, Christian fully practiced. From yesterday, he was limited. Jordan Howden's status did not change. With the oblique, he is limited for Wednesday and Thursday. And of course, you look at Alontae Taylor, who had a groin issue, but Alontae is limited in action. A lot of people still anticipate Alontae Taylor will play in the week one matchup for the New Orleans Saints. Chase Young was one that kind of popped up there. Yesterday was limited, but then went from limited to DMP. Anytime that happens, that's always a point to be concerned about when you see players that were limited the time before and then they go from limited to DMP. But we will have to see. So anyway, let's move on to this article right here, man, and talk about it here, because that's one of what the shows basically represent, is the fact that Chase Young missed today's practice, and it calls into his questions his availability for the week one matchup. So shout out Nodal.com. After suffering a calf injury, defensive end did not participate in team's Thursday's practice. Coach Kellen Moore downplayed the injury after Wednesday practice, saying that Young just had a little something. But his absence Thursday now creates some doubt about his availability for the Saints week one opener against the Arizona Cardinals. Now, what would be a huge defensive loss as the Saints kick off its 2025 season. After practice, Young did not offer whether or not he would play, but he said he does not consider his injury to be a long-term issue. The Saints pass rusher did sign a big contract extension this offseason and looked poised to deliver on his promise in 2025. He turned in an impressive training camp under defensive coordinator Brandon Staley, routinely disrupting Saints offensive plays. If outside of defensive MVPs that we seen this camp, man, you got to say it about Chase Young was all over the damn place. You know, I'm not gonna tell y'all seen a lot of the footage of him flying in there. The change of what happened to the Saints defense with Chase Young it just changed. It just really made everything look a lot different. It really did, to be honest with you guys. It turned a lot of stuff around, in my opinion, with Chase Young. He just looked more motivated and having fun. His speed and like that 34 look for him is a lot different. I mean, he looked enthused. And then the thing about it too was the fact that when the Saints gave him the extension to be here, Mickey Loomis with like 1 year prove a deal. He stayed healthy for the season, got his contract. A lot of people don't like the contract, but if Chase Young lives up to it, if at that position, and the guys obviously have the talent, you just have to put it together, and it's going to be interesting to see. So we'll see indeed. So he signed a big contract extension, looked poised to deliver on his promise, turning an impressive training camp performance. If Young can't go, it will leave New Orleans with Carl Granderson, Cam Jordan, and Chris Rump II at its edge position. The 7th-round rookie Fadil Diggs could also be a candidate to be called up from the practice squad, which could happen. Fadil Diggs, by all indications, should have also made this team. But like I say, Chris Rump did do what he needed to do. The only other change to injury report Thursday was Christian Boyd being upgraded, which is good for our defense. A defensive back, Alontae Taylor groin, and safety Jordan Howard and oblique continue to be limited, while Penning toe missed practice as of right now. The main thing to talk about dealing with the Saints, they relatively are healthy. Yeah, everybody's healthy. Now, whether Chase Young plays in this next game, we'll see, but they do have quality backup and depth that can operate that 34 look. So it's going to be interesting no matter how you count it and how you look at it. Let me get that on screen, matter of fact, and get a look-see at that Saints defense, man, and see how it would look. So, of course, Chase Young, you can see he's listed as questionable right here. And you can see behind him is Chris Rump II, who's putting in a hellified practice at training camp and preseason as well. Chris Rump was a pleasant surprise for a lot of the black and gold members who just constantly watch this man put on plays and make plays and earn the spot on the team. He knows this defense. He's real comfortable in the defense, and he does have some NFL experience here. So if Chase can't go, it'll open the door for Mr. Chris Rump, who has this bright eye. I don't know if your guys ever seen interviews from Chris Rump the second, but the guy has this, he got the Cam Jordan thing going on, right? He got the eye bucking, the big kid persona, you know what I mean? Y'all seen him in the presser, him with the eyes bucking and, with the all the energy and all that kind of stuff. So he's a fascinating character, man. But if Chase can't go, we will have this veteran. The guy been in the league for 4 years, with the Chargers. Like we know, Coach Daly is familiar with Chris Rum, a 4th round pick for them out of the University of Duke of 4 years ago. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with this team. So we'll just keep an eye out on Chase Young. He has not been ruled out. He is, we'll see. But like I said, it's always a problem when you are limited, then you go from limited to do not practice. That's if it's in reverse, it's an issue, no doubt about it. So anyway, let's push on, man, and talk about some stuff, because we also going to cover and listen to some of the reaction from some of our coordinators and stuff like that. They had their coordinator press conference. We'll listen to a little bit of that as we move on ahead. Now, we got a little something to report on right here. That Nation, shout out to Canal Street Chronicles. The Saints did sign another player to its practice squad, defensive end Garrett Nelson, and the team did announce that it released QB Hunter Deckers. So the Saints make the move today. New Orleans Saints are signing defensive end Garrett Nelson to the practice squad and releasing quarterback Hunter Deckers. Now, who the hell is Garrett Nelson? Nelson was a standout outside linebacker at the University of Nebraska, was a 3-year starter with the Huskers before going undrafted in 2023 and signing with the Miami Dolphins. Now, the Huskers standout most recently spent time with the San Antonio Brahmas of the UFL before signing with the Broncos in late July. Nelson had an impressive preseason with the Broncos, leading to his spot on the Saints practice squad. Defensive end Chase Young is currently dealing with a groin injury, and while it isn't being considered significant, New Orleans is adding the young edge rusher as insurance. In corresponding move, the Saints have released quarterback Hunter Deckers. The rookie quarterback spent time on the roster practice squad for the Saints. The Saints signed 3rd-year quarterback Jake Haener to the 53-man roster early this week, but will likely look to bring Deckers back when the pieces fit. So yeah, he's been bouncing back and forth, and usually this is a telltale sign that something is going wrong with Chase Young. When you talk about, okay, we go from from limited to DMP, and then you add a defensive player the same day. That usually means we might have a little stumble bump or two that we have to deal with. So anyway, I don't think, and this guy obviously comes from the Denver Broncos, as the picture indicates. Another Sean Payton connection there possibly. But outside of that, man, Chris Rump could be a guy that plays. Fadil Diggs could also be called up. I would look at that. But that's what it means to have security and to have backups that are ready to step in and keep things twisting and turning. That's what that depth thing does. So it's just really good, the fact that the Saints always trying to stay ahead of this thing. It's going to be very key when you have issues with your players from an injury standpoint or a player standpoint or performance standpoint, betterly said. If that does happen, you have to be able to pivot away from, said player if they need to go on the injury list, or their performance is not that good and is suffering the team, then you must move past player, right? And see if you can find a way to get them together, or if you can't get them together, find somebody else, because we got to keep it going. We can never allow our roster or depth chart prevent us from seizing the day and getting wins and handling business. That's how we got to do this thing.